Well, it is still Sunday, October 31st of the year 2021. Um, yeah, I was looking at the posting from the person I'm usually talking in regards to. And yeah, very nice. Costumes and stuff. I think that's like maybe I should, it's like, but I don't. It's like, this is the best I can come up with. It's like I don't own um, or have in my possession or have a history or inclination or knowledge of, you know, dressing up as anything. I mean, maybe a long time ago, but then I'm just not that creative in terms of working on myself physically. Um, I just don't decorate. I don't wear. I'm very plain. I always kind of joked internally and a little externally that I would have made an excellent Amish person because I'm less in favor of technology and having to deal with fancy, that word I use, that sometimes annoys people because I use it a lot. Fancy things, things more complicated than they probably might need be. Where, you know, things have gotten out of control, where people are more obsessed and compelled and hypnotized and entranced by their devices that they fail to appreciate anything else, even each other, more content to stare at a phone while in a conversation than to actually be, you know, like they could be texting to each other. Well, I mean, well, I don't know. I guess some conversations happen that way. But when it's a routine thing and people are just kind of basically using them as a shield to ignore each other and to be somewhere else, I don't know. I don't need to judge. I don't have relationships. I don't have friends. Nothing significant of any working on it, maybe. I'm not sure. It's hard to tell for a lot of times. I do a lot of being by myself because I feel safe and I understand this space, except that I'm off center from the camera, I noticed. So, let's scoot over. I don't really have anything to talk about more than what I used to. I thought about how whenever I say, or a lot of times when I declare that I'll be doing some writing at any particular time, then it's like I've set myself up for failure. Because it's like, as soon as I think I've said, well, I'm going to be writing later, wait, what? You know, because a lot of my stuff, you know, I can only write when I feel like it, or have something in particular I need to say. So it comes out more spontaneous. I can't plan on being in the mood to write. I might wake up writing, or dreaming, or dream writing. Or ghost writing. Or I might not. So I can't really plan on it. So I hope no one ever takes me too seriously, as though I know what I'm talking about and I have control over my moods, because I don't. Um, just trying to get to know myself, I guess. But then I guess I was thinking about, well, what would I write about if I was going to write? Well, I've already committed myself in various ways, in various forms, in various fashions, on various platforms, to a single idea. But, and I also wonder, I make lots of claims that I don't get responses. I don't get any feedback. And I have to wonder if that's true. And I wonder, it's like, well, I really don't know if what I see would be there the way it is or at all if I wasn't doing what I'm doing. It's like, if I wasn't doing what I'm doing, would they be doing what they're doing? Maybe they would have stopped writing. Maybe they would have stopped posting. Maybe they would have stopped putting up, doing pictures and costumes and all sorts of things, creative endeavors. Maybe they would have, so it's like, I'm getting responses. They're just not convenient responses to my sense of what I feel like should be happening. Based on what I think, how it works for other people in other relationships. This is obviously not your typical communication and relationship. Each side is participating and contributing in, I liked earlier my thought about non-Euclidean ways, or is it non-Newtonian? I don't really know what it means, but I like the way it sounds, so I use it. Using things badly, it's like, when I don't even know what they mean. But I think that's okay. At least I do it, and I don't mind. I hope no one else does, but no one pays attention. Or people just assume that it means something, and if they don't understand it, then, well, they just won't admit to it, and they'll just let it go and let it slide as being a use of interesting phrasings. And it doesn't matter if it's understandable or even contextual, or if it makes sense or not. That'll just sound interesting, and it reads in a certain way. And that's the most important, well, I don't know if it's the most important thing. Conveying the message or creating an image. And sometimes using kind of excessive words for the melodramatic adds to that effect, the embellishment and exaggeration, to create some sort of thought of that, I don't know, maybe it's a feeling. I don't know how it all translates in anybody else's mind, but to me sometimes when I'm just writing and it sounds a certain way, it carries a vibration or a frequency or a tone, that note. I don't know. So I'm playing notes, and I use the words and phrases and images that I practice and rehearse. Those, that's my creation of a song. Playing different notes in different sequences and orders, and speaking them and saying them, even though I go across a lot of the same ideas over and over again, but I'm playing them, against each other and with each other, and creating a song of words. And sometimes it's hit and miss, sometimes it's just fractured and disorganized, and sometimes it just flows. And but filtering and ciphering between them, it's like And I guess for each person it's a little bit different as for what sounds like gold to them and what might sound like iron. So what to write about? Well, I was thinking about how a lot of environmental disasters, not man-made happenings. I was thinking about it at work today because I didn't have much time to really say anything earlier today about what I saw. About a giant, massive fish net on a beach somewhere on the planet being dug up and worried over and wondered over what to do with it by people that had no responsibility for it being there in the first place. The people that were responsible for it were nowhere to be found, and it's just anonymous crime. And there is no, and because it's anonymous crime, even though people know who's in theory responsible, it can't be prosecuted. And it is the cost of doing business. And as long as the cost of doing business is within a certain threshold of horror, then there is no profit or motivation to change the habit that leads to the end result of that fishnet being on a beach somewhere with somebody it isn't their responsibility to dig it up and worry over it to have to handle. Corporations are just okay with a certain level of horror. As long as the public outcry and public demand don't interfere with their profit margin too much, they're perfectly fine with a certain amount of horror being wrought on the land. It's like, oh, well, Mother Earth can take another for the team. Well, not even if they even notice or care, because they're only paying attention to their numbers, their stockholders, their market price and share. So people, it feels like a lot of them, in positions of power, it's like they're only going to do what they have to do, and do a bare minimum of it, and do a piss poor job of it too, when their reputation or their bottom line is threatened. And even then, they might just declare bankruptcy and be like, oh, we're just going to declare bankruptcy and ask taxpayers to bail us out. Take responsibility for our mistakes. It's like, because we're not. And so it's really, big corporations have us all hostage and all fooled, and well, not all of us. Not to say that I am any different. I'm just another regular person who, But there are people who do actively protest and know a lot about these things, and I just am not. I know nothing. It's like it is like a massive game of environmental proportions, and the loser is us, everyone. So that very few individuals can have nice things, toys. They can feel important for their little lifespan while having devastating effects on everyone else that's currently existing with them, and generations and generations and generations to follow, and lasting repercussions on an entire species. Well, not just their own species, but everything, the entire ecosystem, the entire ecology. Just, and, there's that selfishness and self-centeredness, that they aren't taking responsibility for their actions, and and it ends up with a fishnet on a beach somewhere, with somebody who had nothing to do with it being there, is having to dig it up and worry over what to do with it. Crime, you know. It's a crime against nature, against humanity, a crime against self, and it's all about accountability. If they cannot be prosecuted, then as far as they're concerned, there is no crime, and it didn't even happen. So it is a ongoing struggle and a shame that people don't want to do the right thing because it's the right thing. They will only do the right thing when they feel they have to, or they're on camera, or being in the spotlight, or they have to look like they're doing the right thing. But as soon as eyes are off, they can just go back to business as usual. As long as they feel like they can get away with it in the shadows. Just what people can get away with. And then only when it's, wait a second, what's going on over there? And then it's like, oh, look like we're doing stuff good. And then they produce all sorts of, propaganda to look like they're doing good, look like they care, look like they're helping. And, we see the end result. The end result is this whole planet we've got, and the problems we have, where, because the people who are actually trying to help, or trying to make sense of what's going on, are always working from a backhand, where as soon as they start focusing on one thing, then the others start, they're looking over there, let's do our, and then something gets done, or some actual progress, and maybe some actual learning is happening in one sector. But meanwhile, while the attention's over there, all these other sectors like, quick, we got to do this and do this. Makes it, and it's just greed. It's all about greed and profit, and human arrogance and human contempt, and and a lot of other things. And so once the sector is deemed okay, we can maybe it's okay to leave it alone for a little while. Maybe we can learn their lesson and they can operate independently or responsibly for a little while. Let's turn our attention to, what's been going on over here, this horror show, while we weren't looking. Children. Not that I know any better. It's just a repeating cycle that's ending. It's coming to an end. The choice will be taken away from us eventually. Obviously, we're not responsible as a species to be able to handle ourselves. It doesn't seem like it. We are. Anyway. So attention gets paid over here, and people try to make it look good, and make it, like for a little while, and then while that's happening, over here they're starting to cut corners and do things less correctly, and it's like, we got away with that. No one's saying anything. And then it just slowly falls apart over here. And it's like there's just not enough oversight. And I wish there didn't need to be as much oversight, as who's watching the watchers, and then it's just corruption. So there's corruption among the overseers or overlookers or people that watch, the people that manage. So it's just a human failing, if you want to call it that. Or it's just it's not a failing, because humans are operating exactly as how we are, supposed to do, I guess. It's just there's too many of us. We are just out of control population-wise. How we behave naturally is how we got this far in the first place, acting this way. It's just now, it's no longer necessary to be acting this way. It's just 10 billion of us are not, we're beyond the carrying capacity. We've been beyond the carrying capacity of this planet 9 billion people ago. More than 9 billion people ago. We don't need this many people. Not that you can't. I guess innovation and invention and ingenuity can solve some problems, but we're stretched already, and we're just making more people. Just blindly, just without thought, just making more people. More people. La la la. We'll have another couple billion people by 2050, and another couple billion people by 2100. And what's going to be left? And we might have that many more people at the sacrifice cost of everything else. How much acreage to feed them, how much acreage for them to live on, and because they're going to want to have full lives too. All these people that don't exist yet, they want their entire life. It's not their fault what they got born into, that they are now going to be part of and have to take responsibility for. Or they'll just ignore and let the next generation, this next generation that doesn't exist yet, passing it on to the next generation. Well, it's their problem. I was just born into it. So nothing's getting solved very quickly. And there is no quick solution. And it is frustrating. And there aren't enough people working on it. There aren't enough people aware of it. And the ones who are aware of it just get shut down and lost, and it's like, well, it doesn't seem like there's that much of a problem. Otherwise, wouldn't more people be concerned about it? You don't hear people talking about it. Sure, it's on the news, but the news isn't real, right? It's just entertainment. People have difficulty telling fiction from reality until it's biting them in the ass. And it's like, what's wrong with the sky? Why is it on fire? What's wrong with this water? Why is it brown? Why am I sick all the time? Questions. What's in this food? Questions. So, anyway, it's very spooky. Shadow governments. Shadow conspiracies. Shadow thoughts. Shadow dreams. So, anyway, I guess that's what I'm not going to be writing about, because I don't really have much to say. Nothing interesting, at least. Well, those are my basic thoughts about what I was, But as far as like it being the 31st of October, it's already over in some places. Here I am, it's still just a couple more hours left in it. And, I thought, well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm not really doing anything. I'll do another one of these. Seemed like a good idea at the time. And I thought about dressing up with a costume, but it's like, I don't have anything. And I don't have any ideas. I'm not very good with that sort of thing. But I put on some black. It's the one I've got around, so. And it's like, I don't know if it's spooky to have my hair tied back or not, but I did. So, and I've got my my light, so I don't know. I look a little creepy right there, so there is that. So maybe I need to sit closer. So I don't know. I feel a little bit silly right now, so I'm going to turn the light back on. So, anyway. So, that's my second video, I guess, for the day. And I would like to say I knew more about what's going on elsewhere with another person. I did a piece of writing, very improvised, very spontaneous, very fragmented, very tired. So I don't know if they saw it. I have no idea if they're even paying attention. But I'm still writing. And like I sometimes think, it's like, well, maybe I'm not writing to them. Maybe I'm writing for somebody else and I just haven't met them yet. And it's possible. I'd like to say that who I'm writing to now is who it's for, but maybe it is. It's just like a lot of unknowns. But I just keep putting things down and see what sticks. See what makes sense. I'll just keep writing things down and if it's right, then I can't be wrong. So, and it's like, I've already made my decisions. I don't know if they're correct or not, but I've made them, and I'm okay to continue. And it's just, I just don't know where to go, or what to do, or how to proceed. And I ask for some guidance or approval or permission or but I don't know. I'm just, like I say, I'm not waiting. I'm just creating instead. So don't be angry if something else happens, because I'm not planning on anything else happening. But anything else could, because I'm just kind of operating in the dark. And yeah. It's like, how long do I just, I don't know. It's very confusing to me. And it might be all obvious to anybody else, but I have problems with what's obvious. It's never as simple as what might appear to other people. It's my own insecurities and my own sensitivities. So I don't mean to be of two minds, I guess. But I don't know. I am how I am, and part of it is not being sure about much without being told. And that's where I ask for clarification. And yeah. So it's not about being disingenuous. So I'm trying to be as authentic and sincere as I can. And I can only speak for myself and how I feel in any given moment. Try to represent my thoughts as best as I can. So anyway, I guess I should go. I don't really have much to say. I'd start speaking in a circle, which is different than any other time. How? So anyway, happy 31st of October.